Welcome to Pet Week on Capitol Hill, where we focus on the data and insights behind why pets are so important in our lives, connecting directly to pet-friendly policies that can be a force for good. I am Chloe DeVita, your Pet Week host, and I've been in the pet industry for over 15 years, and I'm constantly inspired by the innovations and ideas that drive us to understand the impact of our pets and what they have on our lives. This week, we're going to be inspired together. For those of you joining for the first time, Pet Week in Capitol Hill is a series of virtual programming geared towards celebrating the importance of pets in our lives for our collective health and wellness. And this includes advancing policies that help meet the needs of pets and the people that love and care for them. Pet Week is hosted by the Human Animal Bond Research Institute, HABRI, a nonprofit research and education organization that works to advance the vital role of the human-animal bond in the health and well-being of people, pets, cultures, and communities. Our programming this week will feature members of Congress, industry leaders, the veterinary community, animal welfare advocates, and research organizations, all coming together to share information about the importance of pet ownership in America and the scientific evidence that shows how policies that strengthen the human-animal bond can improve well-being for both people and companion animals. Now let's take a moment and thank all of our Pet Week on Capitol Hill sponsors, without whom this programming would not be possible. Special thanks to today's sponsor, World Pet Association. WPA is a leading trade organization for the pet care community, fostering growth in all segments of the industry, including manufacturers, distributors, and retailers worldwide. WPA is also a trustee of HABRI, supporting its research and education to advance the role of the human-animal bond in society. And they are a long-standing sponsor of Pet Week. To kick off Pet Week, our first session will be about HABRI, its mission, the science of the human-animal bond, and why pets are so important in our lives. Let's welcome the president of the Human-Animal Bond Research Institute, Stephen Feldman. Steve, it is so great to be here with you today. I know I cannot wait to hear all that you have to share about the human-animal bond, so I want to jump right in.
Thank you so much, Chloe, for that introduction. And thanks to everyone watching. We're so pleased to be bringing you Pet Week on Capitol Hill. HABRI is honored to have this role and to invite you to Pet Night on Capitol Hill tomorrow night here in Washington, D.C. So let's get started. Why pets? Why are they important to us? First thing to know is 2/3 of Americans, 66%, have at least one pet. And most of those households have 2 or even 3 pets. So we are Pet Nation. So many of us have pets in our lives. Most people say they spend a large part of their day with their pets. They're by our sides constantly. Most of us consider pets family, and increasingly we're even referring to them as our furry children. And most people, 98%, report at least one health benefit from having pets in their lives. Now, if you're more into the numbers, you can say that $300 billion in economic activity is generated by the pet sector, and that's 2.8 million jobs here in America. So there's an economic impact, and there's an impact to our well-being. Now, when we ask people about the practical implications of being Pet Nation, we find that people want pets everywhere where they live, work, and play. So they want more pet-friendly housing. They want pets in the classroom. They want pets in nursing homes, schools, libraries, to help our kids learn and to help our old people age in a healthy way. So there's so many ways that pets benefit us, and people are starting to recognize that and really demand that our policies keep up. So, what is the human animal bond? Let's start with that. The American Veterinary Medical Association defines the human animal bond as this mutually beneficial and dynamic relationship between people and animals. And the AVMA recognizes the benefits of pets for our mental, physical, and social health. So, this is what we're talking about when we talk about the human animal bond. And Chloe actually summed this up pretty well. The human animal bond is something that we want to have universally embraced as an essential element of human wellness. And of course, we start with research and then education and then advocacy to make sure that we have a pet inclusive world. These are the companies and organizations that make HABRI's work possible. Um, our largest budget item is research, and we're always funding research on the benefits of pets in our lives. And all of the people who help us care for our pets contribute to HABRI's work, and so we thank them very much. Now, we actually ask for research proposals every year. We receive them from all over the world, and we have to date funded more than 60 research projects looking at the benefits of pets in our lives. Everything from physical health and wellness, child health and development, mental and social health, and healthy aging, which I mentioned before. So every aspect of our lives can actually be documented by the science when it comes to the benefits of pets for all of us. Here are some of the research projects that we funded. And I'm not going to read them all to you, but I will say that we're funding research on the benefits of service dogs for veterans. We're looking at the benefits of pets for older Americans. We're looking at the benefits of cats for kids. So there's so many different ways that we study this. I want to bring it back to the economy for a second. If we can actually show that pets are good for us, then we can actually document the savings to the healthcare system. Pet owners are healthier in so many ways, and when we document that with economics, we have shown a $22.7 billion savings to the U.S. healthcare system. So, pet health and human health are inextricably linked. The science shows it, and the economics shows it as well. Now, I want to zero in on mental health. I think most of us feel that pets are good for us, and that's what people tell us. 87% say that pets are beneficial to their mental health, and they've personally experienced that. And in fact, 1 in 5 people have said that they've had a pet recommended by their doctor or therapist for their mental health. So, prescription pet is actually happening. People are getting pets, and they're doing that especially to benefit their mental health. In fact, the science shows that pets are essential for the long-term management of mental health conditions, and our physicians get that. Again, the strong linkage between human health and our pets. And that's why we've partnered with Mental Health America, uh, the largest mental health organization in the United States. This organization screens millions of people every year for mental health conditions. And what they found when they surveyed their constituents was there was a real desire for information about pets. So, Mental Health America and HABRI are partnering together to create a pet hub where people can learn all the different ways that pets are beneficial, but then all the practical things they need about emotional support animals, about service animals, about pet friendly housing, about how to keep and care for pets, and even how to get a pet. Because we want to make sure that everyone benefits in their mental health by having pets in their lives. So we're so excited about the partnership with Mental Health America. This is what it comes down to. The science demonstrates that the human animal bond has a positive impact on so many aspects of our lives, and it's growing stronger. People are recognizing pets in every aspect of our lives as beneficial. So that means we need to have policies and programs all across society really to boost public health through having pets in our lives. And that's where HABRI comes in. We're using the data to support classroom pets, to support pet friendly workplaces, to support therapy animals in hospitals, service dogs for veterans. Every different way that you can imagine, we want to make sure that we're supporting pet ownership. And that includes pet ownership for broad public health. For example, the Healthy Dog Importation Act, which is pending before Congress, would help make sure that we're bringing healthy dogs into this country. So that's again how we cross over onto the advocacy side to make sure that we have the policies in place that we need. And then I mentioned housing, and I'm going to go into that in a little more detail in just a second. But really, people are telling us that the government should have a role in encouraging pet ownership for a healthier society, that our health savings accounts and our flexible spending accounts should include pet related expenses, and the government should make it easier and more affordable to have pets. So when you get into housing, what you see is that people who have pets want a second pet in rental housing, and people who aren't allowed to have pets in rental housing also want to get a pet. And we could make more than 8 million new homes for pets if we could just have more pet friendly housing policies. And that includes public housing, it includes emergency and transitional housing. And that's where Congress and the administration can come in to make sure that we have pet friendly housing for everyone, and we can really help empty out the shelters and make sure everybody can benefit from having pets. And I mentioned health savings accounts and flexible spending accounts. I want to talk to you for a minute about the PAW Act, the People and Animals Wellbeing Act, HR 1842. This would allow us to use our pre-tax accounts, our health savings accounts, and our flexible spending accounts to cover some of our pet expenses. There's a limit of $1,000 for a pet, no limit for a service animal. And what this does is it allows us to spend these funds on veterinary care to make sure that we can keep and care for these pets who are so beneficial to us. So I urge you, if you haven't heard about the PAW Act, learn a little bit more about it and to become a supporter of the PAW Act so that we can help two-thirds of Americans who have pets in their households. When I think about this, I think about how the human animal bond is indisputably beneficial to our health. And I think most of you accept that and believe that and are pet owners yourselves. And if you believe that, then pet ownership no longer is a luxury. This is something that really everyone should have a right to have a pet in their lives. And if everyone has a right to have a pet in their lives, then that means we really need to make sure that they have the ability to take care of that pet, that we have the policies in place to make it easy to care for a pet, that they can afford the veterinary care for those pets, they can have the housing for those pets, so that everyone can benefit from the mental, physical, and social health. So, what do? You learn about the science. That's what we want you to do. Talk to your friends, family, your colleagues, your networks about the benefits of pets, especially this week during Pet Week on Capitol Hill. Learn about the programs in your communities. By the way, Capitol Hill, one of the most pet friendly places there is. Many offices have pets, and we want to make sure that extends to the rest of the country. And then support policies that benefit pets and the human animal bond. It's good for our mental, physical, and social health. It's good for our economic health as a country. So I just want to conclude by saying we're going to have programming all week this week. We're going to be talking about pets in natural disasters and how we have to care for them. We're going to be talking about the benefits of pets for our mental health, including for cancer survivors, making sure they have everything they need to have pets and keep their pets on their cancer journey. Um, and there's some amazing science behind that. We're also going to be having some fun with the cutest pets on Capitol Hill contest brought to us by the Animal Health Institute. Everyone looks forward to that. And that's going to be happening at Pet Night on Capitol Hill, which is tomorrow night, the 16th, from 5 to 7 p.m. I hope you'll join us for that and learn more about the benefits of the human animal bond. So, Chloe, thanks again for hosting us this week. I'm looking forward to all the programming.
Thank you, Steve, for all of that information. I really love how you brought together all of the pieces: research, education, advocacy, everything Pet Week on Capitol Hill is about, and everything HABRI stands for. So, looking ahead right now, the next 2 to 5 years, what are your goals specifically for HABRI?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you so much, Chloe. I think what we want to make sure is that everyone who wants a pet can have a pet. And that really means using the science to drive change in policy. And sometimes these policies start here in Washington, D.C., and sometimes that's just policies out there in our communities to make sure that our housing, our businesses, um, our schools, everyone is thinking about the importance of pets in our lives. So we have a lot of education to do to make sure everyone knows about the science of the human animal bond.
Yeah, there and this is such a great week to really make it a first step if somebody is wondering, how do I get started? Pay attention this week. So let's talk a little bit more about this week in Capitol Hill. Who's coming to Pet Week? What's happening? Give us more of what we can expect.
Well, I think everyone accepts that pets are a force for good in our lives. I hope everyone accepts that. Um, but I also want to say that everyone who helps us care for our pets is also a force for good. So everyone in the pet care community is coming to Washington to visit their members of Congress, to talk about what they do from an economic point of view, from a pet care point of view, to really share what they do to help us take care of our pets. So we'll have the entire pet care community represented in Washington, D.C., and then we're all going to come to Capitol Hill to share.
I can't wait to be a part of it. I'm honored to be Pet Week host for it all and to get to sit in on these sessions and learn all of the things that are going to be shared. And I know an element of all of them is going to be about what we want members of Congress to know. So for you, Steve, what is it that you are hoping they learn?
Well, I think sometimes this is what we encounter. People think that pets are literally too warm and fuzzy a topic for Capitol Hill, but that's not the case. There really are important policies, important legislation that Congress is considering that can impact pets. So I mentioned the Healthy Dog Importation Act to make sure we have a healthy supply of dogs for families all over this country. I mentioned the People and Animals Wellbeing Act to make sure that people can have a little extra help caring for those animals. So those are the kinds of things that we'll be talking about. There's even legislation pending to make our pet food safer, and so there's all kinds of legislation out there that really impacts pet care. Now we're also
And
going to have a little bit of fun. Um, I mentioned the people that are going to be at pet night, but there's going to be some animals there too. And we're really excited. We're going to have therapy animals from Pet Partners, and these are animals that are especially trained to love you. They'll be there for people to interact with, and there may even be some puppies, some adoptable puppies at Pet Night on Capitol Hill.
say more, say more. Yeah, I can't wait. So when it comes to all of this, obviously, Pet Week is a great time for people to get involved. What are other ways that people can get more involved with HABRI or with Pet Week, both?
Well, um, you can obviously go to petnight.com, and that's where you can find all of these sessions. After they're recorded, they're going to be available on demand, and so we want to make sure that people know how to get to that. There's also going to be additional resources associated with each of these sessions, which is going to be really helpful for folks. And of course, the habri.org website. Want you to come to our website where you can really delve into the science behind the human animal bond. I think it's important for everyone on the Hill to know that if you have any questions about companion animals, we have access to the experts who can help you answer that question. So we want to be a resource for all of our policymakers as they're thinking about pets in our lives.
Mhm. And you do an amazing job at HABRI with bringing together all of that data and that science that's needed because you transform it into numbers of people, two-thirds of household, dollars, number of jobs, 2.8 million jobs. These are significant things impacting the world around us. So I am so excited to learn more this week. And when it comes to wrapping up, Steve, what do you want to leave everyone with? What do you want everyone to know?
Pets are absolutely essential in our lives. If you feel that your pet is good for you, you're right. And there's science behind that. And you should share those feelings and you should share those science with others so as many people can benefit from the human animal bond as possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Steve, for all of your wisdom, everything you're doing at HABRI, and how you're leading the way, and how HABRI is leading the way. This concludes our first session of the week. So thank you again to all of our Pet Week sponsors who are dedicated to sharing information about the importance of pets and the human-animal bond for people and communities across America. Be sure to tune in. The whole rest of the week, we have sessions happening at 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So mark your calendar. You can watch all of the sessions live as they air, or afterwards, check out petnight.com or head over to HABRI's Facebook page. They're available both places. And thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all week long.